And this is episode 10 of Ask Jack, the free series where I answer your questions about learning English and the English language. So today's question is all about grammar. So take it away, Amalia. Amalia from Spain asks, how important is grammar if I want to speak English correctly? Thank you so much for this question. Now, what I think you might be asking is, how important is it to study grammar in order to speak English correctly? So I'll come to that in a minute, but firstly, grammar is really important because it's the entire system or the structure of a language. So when we think about sentence structure and tenses and using the right prepositions, we're talking about grammar. So it's a really important thing. What's interesting though is that native speakers, generally speaking, can use grammar correctly. They can speak English correctly. But the majority of them aren't aware of things like the present perfect, or prepositions, or verb patterns, or the sentence structure, and explaining why we do things in certain ways. Now, as an English teacher, I'm aware of this. I know a lot about grammar and the rules for grammar, the exceptions and everything else that comes with it. But the majority of English speakers aren't aware of this. But the reason that native speakers can use grammar correctly is because they have acquired the language in a natural way. They have grown up practicing, getting lots of input, getting corrected when they make mistakes. And therefore, they can use English correctly. And what happens is, it just feels right. You know, we don't think about the rules when we're speaking. It just feels right in those situations. To highlight this, I want you to think about the verb to be. Okay, so the verb to be. Now, this is an irregular verb. And most English learners, they get a little bit scared about irregular verbs and they say, these are really difficult. Irregular verbs are hard. But I'm sure that you're very aware and you can use, without thinking, things like I am, he is, you are. You can conjugate this verb without thinking. And this is because you have seen this over and over and over and over again. You have said I am so many times. I am tired. I am Jack. I am in the house. You have said you are so many times before. So therefore, it just feels right for you. It just feels natural because you've had this repetition and you've had so much input where it just feels natural. Now, the traditional way of learning grammar is to learn the rules, to learn the exceptions, to learn the usage of this, and then to practice in textbooks and in exercise books. Now, this can help. You know, knowing how to use it and knowing the rules for tenses and different parts of grammar can help. It helps you get an overview of how it is used and it leads you in the right direction. But you want to reach a stage where things just feel right, where you don't need to go over the rules in your head and then formulate a sentence. Instead, you just want to be able to speak and use the correct tenses and the prepositions and the sentence structure. Now, to reach this stage, you need to get lots of input. And this just means listening to things, watching things and reading things in English. It means having conversations with people. It means using English in a natural way. And it also means getting lots of repetition. So we need to get repetition in order for it just to feel right. Now, inside the Tofluency program, which is my premium course, you can learn about the methods so that you can get all this input and all this repetition and learn English in a natural way. But a good way just to get started right now is to do something that I call narrow reading and listening. And I talked about this in one of my other videos, so you can watch that now. But to go back to your question, grammar is really important. We need to be able to use grammar correctly in order to speak correctly. But That doesn't mean you have to use the traditional ways to learn it. Instead, we can do it the smart way by getting lots of input and getting the repetition we need. Now, my question for this video is this. When you were in school, did you memorize verb tables? So when you were in school or a language school, did you memorize verb tables? Leave your answers below this video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.